You slideshow. Okay, perfect. Good morning, guys. My name is Amanda. I'm one of the dietitians here with Functional Nutrition RX. Christina is also on board today, and we both will be presenting to you about the Water and Walking Challenge and getting everyone started for the next 20 days, starting tomorrow. This presentation is being recorded, so I'd just like to give everybody a heads up. We will be converting this over to a YouTube video, just in case anybody misses this or, wants to double back and listen to another slide just to refresh oneself or whatnot throughout the challenge. So without further ado, I'll get started. So of course, this is just an overview you guys had seen on Instagram and our email regarding the challenge. So it's going to be the next 20 days, starting tomorrow up until March 28th, where we'll conclude with a virtual celebration seminar to announce the winners. But also we like to look at overall as a team, as a group, how much extra steps or exercise were we all able to do together. So the overall goal for this challenge, although people are competing, it's so that we can foster healthier habits for ourselves, make it essentially part of our identity, something that we don't even have to think about, right? While we all just try to be the best versions of ourselves. So the focus areas is building up hydration, expanding upon our physical activity routine, consistently trying to hit those goals.
Hold on a minute.
Yes.
Are you seeing your slides?
Yes, are you guys?
No, it just says loading.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, it's on.
It's
Oh,
on like the browser. Is that what you're on?
yeah, you know what? It's a connection thing I'm seeing. It says your screen sharing is paused. Let's see. Share sound, optimize any video clips. Sure, share. Let's see. There we go. It's still doing the same thing.
Maybe if you download it,
What do you mean, download the slides?
we can see it that way, whatever you just did.
All right, I just minimized it. I'll take it out. It was in presentation mode, so I'll take it out of presentation mode, and it's in editor mode. But how does it look on your screen? Can you guys see the full slide?
Yeah.
Like if I go like this, are
Yeah,
you
we
seeing?
can, yeah, we can see it.
Oh, perfect. All right. Guys, throughout the presentation, just give me a shout. Even, just I want to make sure everyone can see everything. Um, Perfect. So yeah, we're focusing on creating lasting habits. We are going to have a Facebook group for everybody. If you guys did not already see that in the content of your Practice Better app, we'll go over how to get into that, how to navigate the app today. But we will have a Facebook group just for continued motivation. If you're seeing other people posting or you're posting, it creates intention, right? When you write about it, it makes it more likely that you're going to achieve it. And especially when you're with a team, with a group, surrounding yourself with other like-minded people, you're more likely to get different stimuluses or triggers to say, oh, I saw, Christina was, over hiking at Jones Beach and going seal watching. I want to go do that. That looks fun. It just further motivates us all. So we encourage you guys to post. Of course, we utilize this Facebook group for other challenges. So if you want to post about food or other just healthy things, fun non-scaled victories that have occurred or cool water recipes you find, it's all about helping each other. So this is accessible for you. We will also post the video for today's presentation there as well in the content of your Practice Better app, and we'll email it out to the group. So there'll be 3 different ways to get the recording just in case.
Yeah, and we have 33 people signed up for this challenge, not including me and Amanda. So there's only 13 people here right now, but I know a lot of people weren't unable to make it and are listening to the recording, but we do have a big community for this challenge, so it's really exciting.
Yes, yes. And so ways to win, right? So of course it's more about, we're just trying to be our best, happiest, healthiest selves. However, a little competition creates a little bit of stress that makes us, more excited to get up and go. So the water consistency winner, there'll be 2 winners. The first one is water consistency. So this is the person who reaches their water goal. So everyone has a different individualized water goal, which we'll get to in a moment about how we set that. So whoever consistently reaches that goal on a daily basis, they'll get 1 point for hitting that goal, and the person with the most points wins at the end. And again, it starts tomorrow, 3:10 to 3:28. Today is just the fact finding day, right? So of course, I love this little image on the side. Can you guys see it? Where it says, oh, perfect, what people think consistency is. So a lot of us have a really good mindset of I want to do 110%. It's that athlete all or nothing mindset. Let's go, go, go. But sometimes it's better to do 80% a more consistent amount of the time versus 110% and burn out, right? So this is actually more what consistency looks like. There's going to be good days and bad days, but it's about overall keeping mindful and keeping consistent in remembering your focus and just trying to be a little bit more conscious or drinking a little bit more water today than we were yesterday. And reflecting back and saying, okay, where did I, miss out? Did I not drink enough water and more so in the morning? Okay, could I plan like an alarm or an alert in the morning just to stimulate myself? So we'll get more through that. So ways that we want to start increasing our water intake is, if you're not already, to start your day by drinking a big glass of water in the morning when you get up. I think to think of movement efficiency, if any of you guys are familiar with James Clear's Atomic Habits book, there's also a really cool app that just came out called Atoms that helps with habit tracking. But with that being said, James Clear's methods is part of it is about, putting things insight in mind and habit stacking. So if you wake up and you go to the coffee machine each morning, maybe leaving some water there next to the coffee machine to say, okay, I got to drink this while my coffee is brewing in the morning. It might help to cement in a habit by building off of a habit that's already in place. Or there's some really cute water glasses for your nightstand, very like vintage retro looking ones. I can share them down the road. And leaving it by your bedside is a great thing, or leaving your Stanley by your bedside. I just encourage everyone, just as a heads up, if you're not muted already, just to make sure you mute just because of the recording. Also, filling a water bottle and drinking it throughout the day. I always joke around, it's our emotional support water bottle. It comes with us everywhere, appointments, every car ride. Back in the day, I used to have like this lime green water bottle, and honestly, it worked really well because it would be something that really catches my mind. I like that I have like a nice water bottle that's white now, but I feel like if it's like that vibrant color, not to play on that like pink Stanley trend that's going on right now, but there's finally a trend that's actually healthy that I really like. So vibrant colors, something fun. Like I love when I was the dietitian at the university, the college kids would put stickers all over their water bottle. So it created like a fun, personalized, customized environment around it. So, you got to enjoy what you're doing. Try drinking just a few ounces. Like, so if you, depending on what your job is, I get a lot of complaints from like busy nurses, firefighters, police officers. Little sips adds up over time. We don't have to chug a full water bottle at once and might bother some of our stomachs. We want to maybe consider setting reminders. There's some apps like My Water, which you can get little reminders. I want you to log in that app, but if you use it just for the reminders, some of them are a little funny too. Plant Natty is another one. These are just ideas for in between the challenge too, as a water tracker. Plant Natty is like, for anybody who remembers those 90s Tamagotchis, it's like a little plant that looks like a Tamagotchi, and every time you go to log your water in it, you're watering the plant and makes it look really happy and cute. And then if you don't log your water, the plant starts to die. So it creates a little incentive. I really love the Practice Better one. So that's what we're going to use today throughout the challenge, because it allows us to do an analysis as well of what your average water is, which we can give you that information at the end. It's really simple on your smartphone. You just download the Practice Better app, which we'll get to in the next slide. And you simply will just go, here, let me play the video actually. It always takes me a few clicks. Here we go. So you'll press that plus button on the bottom right and then press log water, and say you already logged 64 ounces for the day. You'll just add whatever other fluid ounces that you already consumed into the app, and you'll see it tally it up for yourself at the end. We kept this how to step-by-step guide in the presentation so you guys can access it and it's in the content of your Practice Better module as well, just in case anyone has a hard time getting to the water logging feature, because this is super critical that we do this at the end of each day or throughout the day, because that's how we'll know what you consumed for the challenge. And that's how you can log and look back and say, okay, I really watched myself progress. In the beginning, I started out more 30 ounces per day, but by the end, I was more 90 ounces per day. And this is how I phased myself up.
Also, just to jump in,
Mhm.
the way it tracks water in the app, you can also do it on your computer, just so you know that it works very similar. You have your same portal and can access everything on the computer. So whichever works better for you. The way it tracks water is by cups. So we converted the ounces that we emailed you, that's your goal, to the cups onto the app. And when you go in, you click on the amount of water you drank if you want. Amanda showed you how you can go in and just add it. But you can click on the cups, and then when you go out of the app and go back in, you can click a cup again and it'll tally it up for you. It doesn't, so that's an easy way to do it too.
Mhm.
You don't have to like add it up yourself. It'll just keep adding as you tap on a cup.
Mhm. Exactly. I love that. And I think it's like, if you know what your water bottle is and you say, okay, my water bottle is like a standard Stanley is like 40 ounces, then you know, okay, if I drink 2 Stanleys, I drank 10 cups for the day. So it's a good way to track yourself. This is it in more of a photo form versus a video form. So you're going to see that in the content of your Practice Better app as well. So we encourage everyone today, if you can, to get in, or early morning tomorrow, just to make sure you know the path of how to do it, so that now when the challenge starts tomorrow, you're ready and set. And if any questions come up, Christina and I are available throughout the way. You can always email us, or there's a little message feature that works almost like a text to us through the Practice Better app. However, we really encourage everyone to stay within the Practice Better app versus messaging, say, on Facebook or whatnot, only because it's HIPAA compliant. So it's considered a technically, because this is billed through insurance, a legal form of communication, because it's still medical related. So next way to think about it too is we have 2 winners, right? So the second winner is the exercise consistency winner, right? So this is the person who has the highest average, so emphasis on average, exercise minutes logged in their app. So feel free to share though, especially what workouts you're doing, or if you're getting creative with family members or turning, social outings into exercise, like instead of going to the movie theater, go into, laser tag, the trampoline place, the rock climbing, ice skating, going for a walk. So share that stuff if you find any cool hikes along the way and you're like, oh, cool, there's seals here, by the way, or anything fun to get active. We encourage that on Facebook. Most importantly, though, similar to what we're going to get to with the water, it's about, yes, this is a competition where people are competing with themselves, but ultimately we're always just competing with ourselves. So when it comes to exercise, say I'm starting at, just want to make sure say I'm starting at like a 1, right? Someone who is able to just, get in a few walks from time to time and during the week, 10 minutes here or there. We're not going to shoot up to, number 10 on this wheel of intense daily training for like a tactical type of workout, like CrossFit every day, right? We want to try to slowly look at gradual increases in our exercise so we don't hurt ourselves, but also if I'm all in, like with diet, for example, if I start doing everything all at once and I'm not making gradual changes, the likelihood that I'm going to keep that proverbial ball up in the air is unlikely, because I'm not making it like a habit, right? So we just want to think practically, think realistically, but most importantly too, when you're looking at this wheel, it's also saying there's, good days and better days, right? So some days maybe we're working a lot more than our normal, or stuff happened, we're not able to really get in our typical workout routine. Something's always better than nothing, in that, okay, if I wasn't able to get to the gym today, can I do a little home workout? Can I do a little yoga? Can I go for a slight walk at lunch? Just trying to keep activity minded. With the challenge, I'm going to be very honest. I think it's easier when someone does have like a fitness pedometer, because you can link it right to the app, which is really, really cool. So what we want to show you is, this is a little video, and again, it'll be posted in the content so you can watch it while you connect it as well. And there's a little article we'll send to you guys too. But you'll open your Practice Better app, and then you press that. I'll just make sure it's super clear. On the top left, right over here, you see like 3 lines. You press that, and it's going to drop down to open up this panel. You'll have your settings button here at the bottom. You press that settings button. And then from there, you're going to press, it goes a little quick, that's why. You're going to press third-party integration. And this is for Apple Watch or Fitbit. It's very similar setup. And then you'll press sync health and fitness data from your iPhone, or depending on the phone, because it's, if you download from Apple Play, Android Play Store will say something a little different, but you'll press link if it's Apple. If it's Fitbit, you'll press link down here. And then you'll press what you want to sync with it. So if for the challenge, you want to sync activity, if you want to sync other things to be able to manage other goals. However, at this time, we recommend just focusing on 2 goals at one time, which is the water and the walking. You'll press the activity there at the top, and it will start to gradually sync your information after you press the turn on all, and it'll add that right to your Practice Better app. It'll load it all, sync it. And then once that quick sync is over, you'll be able to see the activity, and it'll just start to automatically load. However, I was doing it on my end during the week. I noticed if I don't go into the app, sometimes it doesn't sync it. So you want to just make sure you stay mindful and try to just pop into the app once a day, which you're going to be doing anyway, to log the water and just double check that the activity is being pulled. This is another video as well on the same concept of Apple Watch versus Fitbit. And again, like we talked about, the exercise spectrum. So you want to take small, realistic steps when beginning your plan, more and step outside of your comfort zone slowly and steadily. If this concept is more familiar to you, you may fall on the right side of the spectrum, meaning that, on the left side of the spectrum. So I think the people that tend to fall on the left side of the spectrum have a tendency not to do the smaller things on the right-hand side. And I think that's the areas to capitalize. And same for the people who tend to fall on the right-hand side, maybe trying to step outside of the spectrum of the comfort zone, saying, oh, I want to take that kickboxing class, that Zumba class, that Pilates class, that yoga class to try to push me over the edge. So what we're essentially doing with this whole challenge concept is SMART goals. So they are what you call specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, right, and time-bound goals. So that's where we want you to kind of aim your exercise for. So if you start with maybe 3 days per week, walking 30 minutes, maybe we're already, going a good direction with our cardio, and we want to focus on our strength training. So maybe to be specific, we're going to say strength train at, local box gym using this program, or using a, Peloton home workout strength class, something specific, measurable, how often you're going, right? You're going to measure that in the Practice Better app. Actionable, if you did it or not, right? It's yes or no. Realistic. For myself, I'm not going to expect myself to go run a marathon tomorrow. That would be unrealistic, but maybe a 10K would be a good place to start, right? Or time bound, saying, okay, I got to do this twice per week. So I know if I strength train using my program at the local box gym for 2 times per week, after work, maybe I leave a gym bag in my car, I'll know yes or no if I achieved it, because I'll be measuring it in my app and see the exercise minutes put in. So some other considerations moving forward is considering what our why is, right? Because sometimes with exercise, there's so many options, right? Or with nutrition, there's so many things we can do, but we want to think about what our why is. Am I trying to focus on my hormone health? Am I trying to focus on GI health? Am I trying to focus on just being a little bit more anti-inflammatory, a happier, healthier lifestyle and diet, right? Whatever that is that each of us is working on, you want to tailor your goals to your overarching why, right? So creating awareness is by doing the tracking, right? And we want to be activity minded, meaning to take advantage of the small things throughout our day that, oh, hey, there's a small change. I got out of work early. I have a little bit more time. Let me go down to Sunken Meadow and go walk the boardwalk. I'll call a friend, trying to, put that more on the front of the mind. And then to try to reach that overarching why, it's always trying to have a plan and prepare, right? Which is what we're doing today. We're creating a challenge, a program, which is a plan. So now this is kind of set in stone. It's easier to fall into versus just willing ourselves through it with inspiration, right? So now we're going to go more into the hydration section of the presentation, and then we'll finish with the exercise section later on in the presentation. So the big reason why we wanted to focus on water in this mini challenge is it's an unsung hero in the nutrition world, and it does so much for us, right? So for a lot of my individuals that we counsel that complain, their back's hurting, their joints are hurting, right? Water helps to serve as joint lubrication, so it can help with some of those aches and pains, but it also helps to manage the delivery of nutrients to the cells. And also when you're exercising, part of exercising is breaking muscle tissue down to build it back up, right? So when we're hydrated, it helps to clear that lactic acid, clear that cellular waste, so that we're not feeling as achy and sore. It helps to prevent infections. It's great for our immune system, improves cognition. Our brain is mostly water and omega-3s. And so if our brain is happy, our mood's going to be happy, right? It regulates digestion. It keeps things moving, right? If we're eating a ton of fiber from fruits and vegetables, but we're not getting a lot of water, we're going to feel a little bloated and uncomfortable. Circulation, right? If I'm feeling puffy and bloated, or if I notice like ankle swelling and stuff, it's a sign to me that, okay, maybe I need to, get my water intake up, because water clears water, right? Swelling, right? Any swelling like that, water can help that. Of course, if someone has a fluid restriction, that's a different situation. But I'm talking about the general healthy individual. Kidney stone prevention. So if anybody has family history or personal history of kidney stones, right, we want to drink at least 2 liters of water a day as a long-term goal. Weight management, because your hypothalamus doesn't know, or will give you different cues, right? If you're hungry, if you're thirsty, if you're tired, and those cues get a little crossed. So meaning if I'm dehydrated, I could be getting a little confused and thinking I'm hungry. So drinking a little water might help with some cravings, some in particular. And lastly, of course, energy and our blood sugar can help with, right? Because if I'm lacking blood, right, lacking water, then how should I explain this? The sodium and the sugar takes up a greater space in the bloodstream, right? So moving on, we all understand the benefits of water. Typically, we are about 50 to 70% water, and we can measure this on our InBody scale. So anybody who does, our various like bigger challenges or one-on-one nutrition counseling at Functional Nutrition RX, we do offer InBody measurement as a part of our counseling. So you can see what your body percentage is. Women tend to be a little higher in water than men, a little closer to 70%. Men tend to be a little closer to 60%. Total body water, you would do like your percent water times your fat-free mass if you don't have the scale. Another thing to think about is there's intracellular water and extracellular water. So on the InBody scanner, if you have a body composition scanner that measures this, hi Evie. And you want to aim for a 3:2 ratio of intracellular water to extracellular water. However, you might notice shifts if you're trying to make lifestyle changes in your water ratio. Maybe that the intracellular water goes up a little bit, which could be a sign that your lean body mass might be expanding, because the intracellular water represents the water in what you call the cytosol of the cell, and the extracellular water is the water on the outside of your cells. So think like your bloodstream, right? So if we're growing muscle and becoming metabolically healthier, those cells need to pull more water in, because water is life, right? And because it's pulling that water in, it's helping to bring a steadier supply of nutrients needed for building more metabolic functions of the expansion of that muscle tissue, for example. So it's something cool just to be aware of and something to talk about with your dietitian if you do work one-on-one. Next is to talk about long-term goals for water, right? So we reached out to everybody. So if you haven't gotten back to us yet, please do, about what our average water intake is, because we want to set those SMART goals, right? So if I typically drink, say if I was doing, like 32 ounces of water a day, I'm not going to expect myself to drink 100 fluid ounces a day by next week. It's not going to happen, right? Or it's going to be something that's done in more of a stressful state that it's less likely to really latch on and be a habit and become an identity, right? So you want to always gradually phase things up. So say I was starting off drinking 30 ounces of water a day, I might make my goal somewhere between like 60 and 90 fluid ounces. So long-term goal is to try to drink half our body weight in water. However, everyone's individual goal was set based on what number you guys told us was your baseline average. In the middle of the challenge, we're going to look at how everyone's doing in terms of the consistency in reaching their goals. And we're going to look to reassess if needed as a way to push everybody a little bit more for the second half of the challenge, just to give you guys a heads up. Another way to calculate this too is some professionals will do 1 milliliter of water for every calorie you need, because for every calorie you burn off a milliliter of water, essentially in layman's, in a very generalized concept, which ends up being about half your body weight in water. So again, like we're saying, we're going to gradually phase you guys up. We're doing it in the spirit of SMART goals because it's a more realistic way, and you want to start to build confidence along the way by hitting that goal. Can you think of a simple way to monitor hydration status throughout the day, right? Because I get this question all the time of how should I spread my water out though? I know I have to hit this much, but how should I think about it throughout the day? Keep it simple, right? We want to try to be as consistent as we can, but checking in with our urine is an awesome tool and simplistic and free tool, right? So my dad is chronically dehydrated. He's just one of those guys. So it's a joke that we put these little things in the bathroom. We used to do it with the athletes at school. And I even did it at work because my patients for my full-time, they're just the type of crowd it is, they tend to be not the biggest water drinkers. So we put them in the restrooms and we noticed people having fun with it. And it created like a good dynamic around people considering their hydration status. So it sounds funny. We actually don't really want to be at a 1, right? Could mean that we're overhydrated. We kind of want to be at like a 2 or a 3 because we still need our electrolytes, right? If we are more running clear all day, all the time, it could be a sign that we don't have enough electrolytes in our body. But we can always work with you on an individualized level during counseling to determine your best electrolyte needs. So urine color can be used as a reliable marker of hydration status, right? This is also from GSSI. If anybody is really interested in hydration and sports performance and just like to look for fun information and good resources, the Gatorade Sports Science Institute actually has a wealth of knowledge in this. I'm not normally a big Gatorade fan at all, but more so their research institute has a lot of great pieces of information for you. Athletes with a urine color of 1, like we were talking about, they are 6 times more likely to be hypohydrated. The mean urine color of 2 to 3 provides us with reasonable assurance that we're properly hydrated, not overtly, not underly. Under, right? Is underly a word. Post urine color charts in the bathroom. We could do this at home, especially with young kids that tend not to consider their water, or older individuals who tend not to have as much of a thirst mechanism, right? Because our hydration status is determined by fluids going in and fluids coming out, right? So fluids coming in is from
what we drink and what we eat, right? We get lots of fluids from our fruits and our vegetables in particular. That's part why they're so good for our skin and the vitamin C. Also, body mass loss is determined by not just our sweat, but I mean, not just our urine, but our sweat or our respiration, what we're breathing out. What our respiration is determined by is our fuel oxidation. So sometimes that's determined more by the intensity of our exercise. That's on a super granular level. We're not going to have to calculate sweat rate today or throughout the challenge. A quick tool that's used in the college setting for athletes is hydration status. So you do percent change in nude body mass. And by doing so, you weigh yourself before activity and at the end of activity. So that's why gyms tend to have scales in the bathroom. So you do change in body mass over your baseline mass and multiply that by 100. If that number comes out to being greater than 2%, it's indicated that there's too much of a fluid loss during that event, and maybe we need to focus more on drinking during exercise as well, but it also tells us how much we need to replete. So this method is really good for what you consider like shorter term exercise. So, which I don't think most of us are doing greater than 3-hour bouts of exercise intensity at this time. So it's a good tool as long as you're not going above about 3 hours and doing some marathon running just casually. So this is just an example of an athlete that's hiking, right? We're so excited to get into the spring season, get out with nature, go upstate. So the individual's body mass increased from 66.15 to 67. So the change in body mass went to positive 65 kilograms. So that's the change in mass over baseline times 100. And that came to about 2%, right, at 1%, excuse me, at the bottom. So they're in a good spot. They didn't go above 2%. So some other things to look at is thirst, right? If I'm super thirsty, that's my hypothalamus telling me, hey, you know, maybe we should drink some water. Is my body mass going above 1%? Is my urine dark yellow? If, you know, you're putting the trifecta together, means we definitely got to drink some water, right? Thirst can be an accurate indicator in some individuals. This is where it takes really knowing yourself. I know myself, I do not have much of a thirst mechanism. So unless it's hot out, unless it's the summer, that's really when my body tells me to drink. Other than that, I have to be on it for myself. So if you do have a more active thirst mechanism, maybe I'm the oddball, drink to thirst if you're exercising under 60 to 90 minutes, especially cooler conditions, and if it's a lower intensity. However, if you're exercising over 90 minutes, especially in the heat or higher intensity activities, that's when you really want to work with a dietitian on a performance and hydration plan. Typically, if exercising though under 60 to 90 minutes, I like to say at least 8 to 16 fluid ounces per hour of activity, which you'll see that on the subsequent slide here. Before your exercise, you want to aim for at least 8 to 16 fluid ounces in about the hour before. During, you want to aim for 8 to 16 for every hour at least. If you really want to get in analytical, we could talk about sweat rate, but I don't think anyone wants to talk about that today. Post-exercise, another quick rule of thumb, if you don't like that equation, because sometimes I want things just to be a little quicker, for every pound that you lose with when you weigh yourself before and after, you can do 16 fluid ounces of water. And then of course, looking at your urine intake. When it comes to hydrating, it's good to have, I like to say, multiple tools in the tool belt. Same when it comes to exercise, meaning if I'm putting all my eggs in one basket of water, maybe you love water, you live and die by water and you don't need anything else, that's awesome. Really stay with that. But if you're someone that needs more variety, a little bit more tools in the tool belt, there's some other things to consider, like fruit and herb infused water, which we're going to send you guys a fun cheat sheet in your modules on that with different, infusion with different herbs. Spritzers, like I love taking seltzer with some tart cherry juice, especially after a workout. which is good for my joint, good for like preventing joint inflammation, with a sprinkle, very small dash of like Celtic sea salt to get some iodine and some sodium. Or you can do that. I love doing it with the Palm Wonderful blueberry pomegranate juice because it's super rich in antioxidants, and just doing about 2 fluid ounces, right? Juice, I'll call it soda with vitamins sometimes if people are drinking full glasses of juice. But if it's just to complement a little seltzer, that's totally fine. Teas, we love to recommend, especially different decaf herbal teas. Seltzer, of course, as long as you don't have any acid reflux or different GI discomfort. Seltzer is great. I love Pellegrino's awesome. The Crystal Geyser mineral water is great and flavorful in terms of having a little bit of like carbonation if you go for the carbonation. Other things though to consider, sometimes I can't just drink water plain, right? I'll put a little lemon juice in there, or there's this product called True Lemon, which is awesome. It'll be true, there's like true strawberry, there's true mango, all different flavors, and it's a very minimally processed product. You can pop that in the water. Some other things is like the sugar-free element tea. Actually, I just found there's a chocolate flavored one, which my coworker told me about, and I was like, what, you were doing chocolate flavored electrolytes? And I got it recently. It tastes so good. I'll do it at night if I'm like craving a little something sweet, and I'll mix it with a little hot water, almost like a hot chocolate, and some of the little Fairlife or Orgain chocolate protein shake, just to ward off a little craving as like a little evening snack. And it feels like I'm having hot cocoa. You could also do Ultima is another brand that's great. I call it technically a bad electrolyte replacement, in that there's no sugar and there's only 55 milligrams of salt. So again, if we're doing longer intense activity, that's not so great. But for us, just to add flavor, or for workouts under 60 minutes, it's awesome. It comes in different flavors like pink lemonade. I love, but the biggest thing to look out for is like these artificial sweeteners, like especially like the aspartame, right? Saccharin, we know, can cross the placenta barrier. Sucralose is a carcinogen. And there's different evidence being shown with this, but for some, having these artificial sweeteners kind of put that sweet sensation on the tongue that can taste up to 100 times sweeter than actual sugar. So it's giving us that quick hit of something super, super sweet. And then we look to crave that, super sweet taste more often, right? Or sometimes the evidence is a little conflicting, because I've seen different points of view on this, where it was thought that because the brain is tasting, right, getting a sensation that something sweet is coming down the pike, that the pancreas starts saying, oh, something sweet's coming down the pike, guys, we got to prepare. So they tell the beta cells to release insulin. So it's a little conflicting of if that's going on or not, but if something's questionable, why engage? It's not really worth it. There's so many other great options. We did this guy. And of course, I have to keep playing off this Stanley thing, right? Everyone treats these Stanleys like God. And they're honestly great. I do love mine. So some tips just to increase water before we move over to exercise is to drink all throughout the day. Consume like small sips with meals to help digestive comfort. But drink like larger amounts between meals, of course. Carry a refillable water. Don't forget that emotional support water bottle. Seriously, like we like to always joke around, say, keys, phone, wallet, water, right? Train ourselves like we had to with like the mask during 2020, right? We had to be like keys, phone, wallet, mask. All right, good. Just replace it with the water. Keep it by the door, keep it by your keys, maybe keep it in your lunchbox. Add flavor, right? If you're the type that's, you need a little extra flavor, give yourself what you need. That's fine. Consume foods high in water. This can also help your hydration and your digestion, and our skin, right? Schedule reminders for oneself. I love Alexa. My fiance doesn't, but I do, because I always have her going off with random alarms, and I'll be like, Alexa, schedule reminder, 7 p.m., drink bottle of water. But I'll do it for like a month, and then I don't need it anymore. Then I kind of really set that habit. He just doesn't like it when I'm like, Alexa, stop, Alexa, stop. But consider time-based checkpoints, right? Like what we're doing with the challenge today. We're giving ourselves 20 days. and habit stacking. Like I said, if you get up in the morning and you make a cup of coffee, or you take, you have certain medications or supplements you take that you're already in the routine with, keep your water bottle next to that so you can stack off of it. Next, oh, and of course we can't forget like the whole straw concept, right? Straw, or like set time, can't speak English, time point water bottles, right? There is some research to show that like a sport cap or a straw can actually help to entice more drinking. I did it on myself and it sounds kind of lazy, but it's like that extra moment when you're like uncranking unscrewing the Nalgene versus quickly just taking it and sipping it. I think it does make it a slightly more accessible, that it might help to get more in, based on the individual. So we all know exercise is good for us, right? But do we know why? So of course it helps work our heart muscles more, right? So it makes our heart nice and strong, lets our heart pump nice and long. We want to focus on longevity. It enhances our mood, right? So exercise helps cognition. For me, it's also meditative. If I'm working out, I'm not focusing on other things, right? I'm eye on the prize there. It's the hour that I've carved out for myself that, I'm not worrying about, text, email, what work I have to do or what's going on at home. It's a moment for you. Increases your energy, right? Because you get that big endorphin rush towards towards the end of your workout, and that endorphin rush can give you a little jolt of energy. Mostly that's an awesome, great thing. Just consider it though, if you exercise right before bed, some people are more affected by this than others, that you might feel more stimulated and have difficulty falling asleep. But overall, it makes your body more efficient at burning energy as well. Of course, body weight management. Exercise isn't, yes, it helps with weight loss, but I think what exercise really helps the most with is weight loss maintenance. And I think a lot of people don't not understand, but don't give gratitude enough to building muscle, because when you build muscle, you're going to be burning more calories just to stay alive. So if you grow say a pound of muscle tissue, and let's say that pound of muscle tissue, I forget the exact amount of calories it burns, but let's say 1 pound burns, extra 50 calories, right? Because we put on those extra muscle, say I do 50 times 365, that's 18,250 more calories for the year burned, divided by 3,500. That's how many calories it takes to burn a pound. That having gained that pound of muscle might help with losing 5 pounds of fat over the long term, having maintained them, gained and maintained that muscle. So that's why it can help with weight management in particular. Boosting our immune system, of course, right? Improve glucose management, because our muscle is like little motors to burn energy, right? So if we have sugar in our bloodstream and we're concerned about our blood sugars, having the muscle there to burn it, if you have more muscle tissue or you're activating and utilizing that muscle tissue more, you're going to more efficiently burn glucose. So for example, part of why the USDA changed the exercise recommendations to avoid having more than 1 day off at a time with exercise for long-term goal planning is because your body burns glucose more efficiently the next 24 to 48 hours after your workout. So of course, exercise helps with detoxification, moving different things through the body, right? Especially if you're someone that has high estrogen or different types, or the more inefficient form of estrogen, I believe E12, and you're trying to convert it to E4, exercise can help with that. And of course, positive social engagement. I love making friends at the gym. So we all know all the benefits. Something new that some of us might not know about is heat shock proteins. So heat shock proteins are activated in the body when our body's temperature goes up, whether that's through the sauna or through exercise or other means. So those heat shock proteins can help protect us against neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Huntington's disease, and general cognitive decline. And it also helps to protect our heart. So these heat shock proteins are kind of like little cleanup proteins that help to build new proteins in the body, which is the building blocks of all of our cells. And they also help to repair cells as well. So with getting started, you want to look like what we did with the water, right? Assess your current activity status. If you know you're walking 3 times a week or 2 to 3 times a week, maybe we're going to focus on increasing activity to 3 to 5 times per week. We want to select suitable activities for the challenge. Sorry. Here we go. I'm going to get to the chat towards the end of the presentation. It looks like it was all messages from previous with the slides. So you want to look at suitable activities for the challenge, meaning looking at your current medical status, any injuries that you have. If I know I recently had a knee replacement, I'm not going to go starting a jump rope routine, for example. We want to get a buddy. Buddy system can help with accountability, so long as if the buddy doesn't come or isn't available one day, that we still push on and say, you know, I'm going to just go for that walk anyway on my own. And I'm going to try to bring them out with me if possible. This is another great graphic that you guys can take a peek at, and looking at where we start and then looking at how to increase or phase ourselves upward. The goals, the long-term goals that we're all aiming for is at least 150 minutes per week of cardiovascular activity, or 5 30-minute exercises, like walking, for example, bike riding, swimming, and then at least 2 days per week hitting each of the major muscle groups by performing strength training. We love fitness trackers. Of course, it's going to make it easier for you when it comes to logging your activity, and you want to set those up in your Practice Better app. You will be able to see a lot more about your distance, your steps, for example, how many calories you burned. It also can help to set goals for you. So you could see if you're burning typically or engaging in on average an hour of activity every 3 days, then you could say, let me try to do an hour every 4 days. It's a good accountability tool. We also don't want to forget to warm up. This is a nice little warm up on the right-hand side that you guys can utilize for general calisthenics and strength training if you'd like. I especially like to warm up my core before I work out, doing dead bugs or cat-cow, bird dog exercises. So when you get your core muscle firing and get your mind muscle connection firing before you're going into the workout, you're going to have better muscle activation during your strength training. However, we don't want to forget to do the bulk of our stretching towards the end. In the beginning, it's okay to stretch like the little things that feel tight, but you don't want to overtly stretch before strength training. It's more so about getting the warm up in, getting the blood flowing, maybe doing 5 to 15 minutes of cardiovascular exercises, some light stretching of tight items, tight body parts, I should say, and then getting into like a dynamic warm up that I was talking about with the dead bugs and the cat-cow. It enables more oxygen to reach your muscles, so it can help prevent injury, but also because those muscles are getting more oxygenated, they're going to be able to fire and work better. So therefore, you're going to perform better. A warm-up also activates and primes connections between your nerves and your muscles and improves the efficiency of the movement, and including your range of motion, your flexibility. We want to avoid setbacks throughout this, right? We're going to send you guys out a sample time audit, which is fun. Strategies to overcome these time constraints, lack of motivation, physical limitations. We're trying to put a lot of these barriers in place with the challenge by having, a team. The Facebook group messaging helps with motivation, a competition, physical limitations. However, we want to work with a personal trainer, a physical therapist to help us navigate any, physical barriers we might have with exercise programming, time constraints. Something's always better than nothing, and seeing with the USDA changes that occurred in the past 5 years to those exercise guidelines. It doesn't matter if you do 3 10-minute exercises throughout the day or 1 30-minute exercise for the day. Trying to get those minutes in, they all add up. Importance of warming up and cooling down, right? Helps to prevent against injury. Cooling down is super important for the heart. If I just go out and sprint and then I just finish my workout, it's like revving my car up to 100 miles per hour and then just stopping, which puts a lot of stress on the heart. So cooling down is super important. Listen to your body and avoid overexertion. We don't want to take 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. So if I'm feeling super sore, achy, tired, I'm seeing that I have that clear runny nose, my resting heart rate's going up. It could be a sign of overtraining. I'm feeling anxious. So we want to definitely listen to our body. Consult a healthcare professional before starting any new exercise regimen if you're uncertain. We want to reflect on improvements in fitness and overall well-being. By that, you're looking at exercise, but you can also look at other indicators of success, other non-scaled victories. For example, I love using the rower. So your 500-meter time, or how much weight you're using when you're strength training for, high rep activities, low impact. You can look at your pace or your split pace for when you're walking or jogging or running as other indicators of success. So some people get discouraged. So you want to make sure you look at other aspects of your workout to treat as a goal marker. Something is always better than nothing, and you want to do what you can. So in summary, when it comes to physical activity, we want to focus on reframing our definition of exercise. So this was something I used to struggle with in the past because I had been a college athlete. So I always saw exercise as we're doing 10 100s on the lacrosse field, or we're doing conditioning or weight training. It has to be something intense. And understanding and reframing that, yeah, going for a walk is of value. It's good for my nervous system, from my mind, but also for my body. And we don't always have to be beating the crud out of ourselves for it to count as a workout. Maybe going hiking with a friend, or like I was saying, doing healthy social engagements like going and walking at a festival or visiting a farm, for example. We want to practice mindful movement. That could be yoga, yoga, Tai Chi, for example, Qigong. Explore forms of movement that you personally enjoy, because if you like it and you enjoy it, you're going to go back to it, right? We want this to become an identity. We want this to be who we are. And if it's something that we don't like, we're not going to want to go back to it, right? So same like with the water, how we're saying have multiple tools in the tool belt. It's good to have multiple tools in the tool belt when it comes to exercise. I love to hop on my bike or go for a run or a walk, or go walk the dog. I love to go to the gym, but I also love to go paddleboarding. So it's having all those different tools to keep us engaged and enjoying it. And when you're in the gym, or say you're doing cardio activity, if you want to put on like a favorite, show, podcast that you find super motivating, music, make it an environment you want to be in. Work out on your own terms, like we were talking about earlier. Don't work out to eat to work out. So some people have, in the past that I've worked with, have like a purge mindset, right? Like, so Thanksgiving, I gotta do this super intense activity because I just ate a bunch on Thanksgiving, right? We don't want to come from that mindset, because it puts exercise in a space of punishment almost, where exercise, it's more of, I don't have to, I get to. I'm so excited. I can't wait to work out because it's something good I get to do for me. And it's a way I treat my body with respect. And I know because I do this, I'm going to feel so good. I'm so lucky. That kind of a mindset. Take rest days. Muscle is built in the rest, right? It's built when we sleep. If I'm exercising 7 days a week, I'm just going to be breaking down muscle tissue and really not feeling the greatest. Patience is a virtue. Anything good takes time. If you want to, if you're struggling, please reach out to us. But we're not going to, from exercise, we're not going to go from, running a 5K to a marathon overnight, right? We got to put hard work in, but when we put work in and time in, usually the best things come out of that. And like we were talking about earlier, celebrate non-scaled victories, right? Yes, we have the exercise in minutes, but celebrate, hey, when I'm walking, my back doesn't hurt anymore, or I notice that it's easier for me to breathe, or I don't feel as sore anymore. So celebrating the little things. And that's the biggest thing that drives us to do this challenge,
is the non-scaled victories that people experience throughout making these small, healthy adjustments to their day-to-day routine that have a large impact in the long run. So without further ado, I thank everybody for your time today and for tuning in and listening to today's presentation. Does anyone have any questions? Oh no. Awesome, awesome. So like we were saying, this is recorded. We will get that out to you today. And if you have any questions or if you're uncertain of your water goal, it was emailed and put into your Practice Better app. But if you don't see it or you're having any difficulty setting up, please give us a shout. Don't hesitate. You can message us through the app, call us, email us. It's never a problem. And have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your weekend, guys. And we're going to kick this challenge off right. And everyone's going to kick butt and end up happier and healthier than when they started. Be well, guys. Thank you.